Hey everybody, I am Meg from LovenStamps and you are watching Maker Mornings with Meg. We have a project today that features the Season of Chic stamp set. It's part of the Retiring Texture Chic bundle, of which I am adoring. So this is a designer series paper. I know in plastic it's hard for you guys to see. Yeah, like impossible for you guys to see. I'll show you when we switch cameras. This paper is so pretty with the gold foiling on it. There you can kind of see that in really pretty colors for all kinds of seasons, which is why the stamp set features all the seasons. So there are images for kind of all year long. So there's leaves, snowflakes, seashells, flowers. Assign them to whatever season you like. And we are going to do a project today again that makes the most of this. This is a great card. The colors are very like gender neutral themed, so you can do with them what you want. And we're going to talk about collage and how to put collages together. So we have stamps, we have dies, we have all the things. So how to combine those things so that they really look finished instead of like there's just a lot going on. So we're going to talk about some collage work today, and I'm going to feature a couple more things that are retiring. The metallic specialty paper, again, hard to see through the plastic. So you'll want to check, let's see, I'm like throwing little pieces everywhere. You'll want to check the link in the video description for ordering links on these kinds of things, because they are those, and then we're going to use these gold sequins, are greatly discounted. So this is a great chance to pick up some extra supplies to add to your stamping collection. So, all right. Well, I know there's snowflakes in the stamp set, but Kathy, I'm really glad that you guys are kind of done with the snow there. So good morning. Hey, Vonda and Tanya and Trish and Sue. We are going to switch over, and I'm going to show you not only our card today, but I'm going to show you another version of it that sneak peeks the new colors. The new colors will start on May 2nd when the new catalog goes live. You can get them now as a demonstrator by placing your pre-order. And if you just can't wait, you could join my LovenStampfuls demonstrator team. I would love to help you get started. And you could pre-order the colors now. So remind me if I forget to show you that card, but hopefully we'll remember. So with that, I am going to switch over. You could always ask any questions, share whatever thoughts you have. I love to hear what's going on with your crafting and stuff too. So leave those in the comments. All right, so here are the pieces of our card. This is a very relatively simple card. It's one of the Maker Mornings with Meg projects, one of the LovenStamps Monthly Tutorials for the month of April. So it's part of the PDF that you get for placing an order with me. And if your order's $50 or more, you'll get 2 card kits, 2 project kits in the mail, and I've already showed those, so kind of exciting. One of them's a notebook this month. All right, so I took my cardstock and I folded it in half. It's just a regular sheet, and then I'm gonna cut, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, on the order of an inch or 3/4 of an inch off the front. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us a very sort of subtle, but makes it just a little bit more interesting overlay for the front of our card base. This color is Evening Evergreen. It's one of the retiring colors. So again, you can use the link in the video description to just click through, drop things in your shopping cart, and then see like what's on low inventory or what might be not available soon. And then I'm going to take a sheet of this paper. This is cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and you can see that gorgeousness. I'm going to go ahead and attach it here, but because we have that piece cut, I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive here on the side of the card so that I don't accidentally mess up. And then I'm going to put on this side here. And the back of this paper is the snowflakes. These papers, oh, I promised to show you that. These papers have a little bit of seasonality to them. The front sides are all like season neutral. And then the back sides, these are my scraps that I have left. There's not very much here. The back sides, that's sort of a wood grain, but they have, like this is the leaf print. One of them has seashells. That's sort of flowery. Let's see, do I have a seashell piece? It's this one here. There's the seashell one. It's really a gorgeous paper. And that gold is just such a pretty accent for lots of things. So you can use it in big pieces or little pieces. And actually the last project that I have to share with you guys for this suite, I'll share on Tuesday. and it'll show how to use all kinds of little scraps to make some cool things. So that'll be a really popular one for you guys too. All right, so we have our card base done here, and then I have a piece of basic white, and this is, let's see, how wide is it? It is 3 1/4 by, oh, it needs to be trimmed down just a tiny bit. 3 1/4 by, it must be 5. There we go. Yes, because I want it to mat and leave a margin on the top and the bottom. So if you're wondering like how that magic works and how I always seem to know what sizes to cut things, I cut my layers at a 1/4 inch layer. So this layer, this white layer here is a 1/4 inch smaller on this direction than the layer below it. And same here for this DSP layer, it's a 1/4 inch smaller than the height of the card. So just think in 1/4 inches. It's a great sort of general rule of thumb. So, hey Kelly, yes, Tanya was saying she got some great things yesterday. Hey Margie, and happy pre-Friday too. All right, so colors for this come from the Designer Series paper. We have Evening Evergreen, which I've already told you is retiring. We have Mint Macaron, which is also retiring. And we have Soft Suede, also retiring. So 3 retiring colors. And then Petal Pink, which is going to continue. And for this, I'm going to make my life easy with my stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my first one of these swishes in the lightest color. Okay, why make your life difficult? So I'm going to go ahead and put it down here. We're going to stamp 4 swishes. And I'm going to clean my stamp just a little bit in between these first ones because the color is pretty light, so it's not, I don't really have to worry quite so much about bleeding between the 2 colors. So the next is Mint Macaron, and I'm going to pop this one here. And I'm going to, even though I'm repeating the image, I'm going to move my stamped image a little bit left and right, back and forth. So you could go with a strategy of trying to line up exactly. The problem that I have with that personally is that if you get a little bit off, then it's really obvious. Whereas if you purposefully vary your placement, then you, it's a little bit easier to kind of get away with being off a tiny bit because it's not expected that they would march in a straight line. Okay. All right. I'm going to hang on to Soft Suede and I'm going to bring Evening Evergreen for our last one. And so you can see why starting with the lightest color lets me just make it easy to go, lightest to darkest. And I don't have to work quite as hard to clean my stamp in between, but now I'm finished with it. So we'll go ahead and clean that off. Well, not finished. It's going to appear in the middle again. So watch for that. All right. So now what else to add to our card? We have this nice thanks greeting here, and these greetings all fit nicely on the swoosh. So this is a great stamp set for mixing and matching with a swoosh to add your greeting. But thanks is kind of a perfect one here. So I'm going to take my thanks. I'm going to ink it in Evening Evergreen. And I'm going to stamp here on our Mint Macaron layer, okay? Now, this is great, right, like this, but if you want to give yourself sort of an extra little bit of interest here, and you're feeling lucky or good, we'll see, maybe I'll mess it up, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp over this in Soft Suede. And let me see if I can zoom in quite a bit here to just show you. The closer I get to my card, so as I'm moving it down, the more that sort of, it resolves that, what's that called? Sort of the parallax kind of between the 2 images, the one on the stamp and the one there. So as I get right down to the bottom is when I can see the best. And so there you can kind of see it gives it a little bit of a shadow effect. It's pretty subtle. But it is kind of fun to just have that little bit of extra color there, okay? So you can always practice on your scratch papers if you're not super confident about that, but it's easier than you think, especially if you get really, really, really close. Now, the other thing that I will tell you about that kind of stamping, so let's pretend that this is my, I think I've talked about this before. Let's pretend this is my tabletop and I'm stamping like this. Now, I don't just sort of like hold my hand, so you're flipping this in real, actually, I wonder, that's going to mess up my camera. Now I'm gonna switch back to my other camera here and show you this way so it makes more sense. Okay, so here is my table that I'm stamping on, right? Here is my cardstock, here's my stamp, I'm bringing it down. I don't just hold my stamp like this and sort of free for all, stick it down. I always brace my hand on the tabletop. So this is a trick that I learned from doing pottery. So I do wheel thrown pottery. I'm not great at it, but I really enjoy it. So I put my wrist or my arm or my elbow or something on the tabletop. So then when I'm stamping, I have a point of contact in the table that's helping me anchor my stamping. So it's a lot easier to place that image actually right on there, okay? So if you think about it, when I have my two pieces here, let's see, can I flip this down? Okay, there we go. Hello. So when I have my my two hands and this big block like this back here, then I have my wrists on the table and I'm stamping like this rather than just trying to stick that down someplace. Brace yourself and it's so much easier to position. Okay, maybe that was more detail than you wanted to hear, but hopefully that was something that you find helpful. All right. And hi, Christine. Hi from Australia. I'm so glad that you're here live. Good for you. I forget what time it is for you. I have a hard time calculating for my Australian friends or my New Zealander friends too. So, all right. Where are we going to put this? We're going to layer this here on our card. And I'm going to use my adhesive again. No, I'm not. I'm going to pop it up with Stampin' Dimensionals. This is a great chance. Pardon me. Oh, all my scissors are tucked away. I've been opening a great number of boxes lately as I get ready to mail my catalogs. So watch for those to mail in the next couple of days, next day or two. So I'm excited to get those out and some extra treats. Speaking of which, I'll have a new catalog launch. I'm going to do it on May 4th, which is just a little bit after the catalog goes live, but it'll give us a chance to talk about some of the new things and kind of get excited about some new ideas and so forth. I'll have new things to show you that day. So watch for that. Usually when I do the catalog premiere, I do an evening event. So, all right, so I'm going to peel all these backings off. Remember to save your edge pieces from your Stampin' Dimensional because they are super useful for putting up big panels like this. And I'm going to go ahead and layer this on here. All right, so now let us get to the collage part of this card. So we have in this die set a number of fabulous things. We have the shapes for the snowflakes and all of the stamps that are included. But then I love when a die set includes dies that are beyond just the images and give you some extra choices for other kinds of shapes. So there are 4 leaf overlay dies, one that matches, it's this one, that matches the main die, and then 3 additional images. And we're gonna go ahead and use all of those. So this is one of those things, right, where you get collage, you get the idea of doing collage things, but you don't want to overwhelm. You don't want to just, puke things onto the cardstock or whatever. So we want to kind of be organized about that. So the other die that is here, because I have it set aside, is this super fabulous, what is this, grid kind of die. And the grid is just a really great collage piece because basically, you know how we talk about giving things focal points or giving our focal point strength to really keep your eye moving towards it. The thing about this one is that it will give you focal point strength, but it doesn't cover up all the elements underneath there. Oh yes, Sue says open weave die. That's a great one. Let's see. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so, and Kim commented about that bracing technique, and she said it's important for handwriting too. And she had her students practice on the floor, so the floor kind of supports their whole body. That's cool. So if you have littles who are working on handwriting, there you go, from an expert teacher. So thanks, Kim. All right, so this open weave die, this basket weave die, whatever you want to call it, is outstanding. And we're going to go ahead and cut one here for our background. And I wanted to leave it, I left it in the die because I wanted to show you some simple tips for removing these little chads here. Now, the paper that we're using is the metallic specialty paper. So if you're using cardstock for this, It's just so much easier. The chads don't stick very much at all. But this has a plastic backing to it, so you have to work a little bit harder to get the pieces out. And so what you might find useful is the brush die adapter for the Take Your Pick tool. So if this looks familiar, it's because usually, I think I just have another one here. Well, maybe not. Well, usually I have my putty tip in the end, but you can swap that out and pop in this brush tip, which is separate item. And it comes with this foam pad. So sometimes I use this and sometimes I don't. But when I get to this point, I really like to hold it in my hand and just kind of, I'm pressing the die and the paper back into the die at the same time, and see how many of those have already kind of fallen out. I'm pressing that paper into the die so it's supporting the die cut, but letting the little elements in the middle pop out, okay? So don't necessarily just pop this out of the die right away. Go ahead and use that die as a support for helping to separate those little chads from the die. The other thing is you just want to be a little bit gentle with this and kind of run over it. And then when I get to the point where I've got most of it, I can take my back end here, the pokey tool, and poke out the rest of those pieces, okay? But anyway, you don't need to see that whole thing. So I have one here, which is already cut out for us, okay? Now, we also don't need this whole thing for our card because we want our focal point to balance with our greeting. We don't want it to overwhelm, and this is a very large piece of this mesh. So instead, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, and since I took the time to cut it apart or poke all the pieces out, I'm gonna go ahead and use it for 2 cards. And so I'm gonna cut it, but not with a trimmer, just in a straight line. This is a very organic shape with all these sort of smudgy, fudgy edges. And so I'm going to continue that, and I'm going to go a little bit at a diagonal on some of these things. I'm gonna cut into this piece to give it more of that smudgy, fudgy edge there. That's the technical term for it. You might want to write that down. Okay, so do you see how we've created sort of a continuation of that sort of edge shape for both of these pieces here? So this is the edge that I just cut down there. Okay, so now we just need one of these. So I'm going to pop this here, set the other one aside, and now we have the beginning of our focal point here. So let's zoom in just a tiny bit and talk about our dies. So this one here, I can stamp if I want to because it matches the stamp from the Season of Chic. We're going to do that on the inside of our card. But for now, I'm going to die cut this from another piece of our designer series paper. So this piece is die cut here, okay? And then I'm going to die cut all 4 of these from Evening Evergreen cardstock, which I have done through the magic of television. And so these are all die cut here. And I'll take a second to pop these out. I actually find I can use my pokey tool to poke the backs, but I honestly find that just bending the cardstock and flipping out the little chad is probably the easiest way to do it. So you wanna make sure they're cut all the way through, but usually that's not an issue. So, all right, so now I have our dies here. This one is going to match up, our die cuts, I guess. And I'm gonna use my multi-purpose liquid glue to go ahead and attach this. So there's always like a little sort of skin over the top there, so I'm gonna pull that off. And remember, with this glue, you guys know what I'm gonna say here. If you can see it, it is enough. Let's see. Tap it down, make sure the glue is at the tip of the thing. Oh, I can see this is about to be splurgy here. There it is, I saw it coming. All right, so we'll get that extra there. So that is a lot of glue. As far as this, if you can see it, it is enough thing. That is a lot of glue. So, all right. Probably should have taken the time to get that on scratch paper. And if your fingers get glue like this, honestly, you really should just go wash them. I am cheating and rinsing them here on my Stampin' scrub, which I will go and wash afterwards. But all right. So get some extra glue off the front there. And then I like to hold this in my hand so that I can line up these pieces and sort of adjust them against each other. The nice thing about the multi-purpose liquid glue is it gives you the chance to shift things as you go. It doesn't grab instantly. It gives you an extra second to put those. Okay, So back here to our frame and our piece. Now we have all of these little extra elements here, and I could just keep piling them on top, but honestly, when you have something that is nicely see-through like this, think about the layering and consider putting some layers underneath your element, okay? And let's see. So I really like the things in groups of 3. So I'm gonna pop one more leaf down here so that it gives us sort of our group of 3 collage element. And this needs to come back a little closer here. And when I'm doing collage, I mix and match my pieces, I move them around, I get everything set, and then I go back and I put things on. So I have this one leaf left here, which I think I kind of want to put here. I don't know, maybe. Should I leave it off, underneath, on top? Or maybe just none altogether. Let me know what you guys think. I use the 4th leaf or leave it off. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and start sticking some stuff down. So I'm going to use my glue again and do some glue on here. And I'm not going to worry too much about getting a ton of glue because this stuff sticks really well. And also it is going to be anchored by our mesh piece, which you'll see here in a couple minutes, couple of seconds. All right, so I'm popping those on, and now I'm going to go ahead and put on the back of here some more Stampin' dimensional pieces. And let's see, is this one too long? Yeah, this looks pretty good actually. I'm gonna just go ahead and use this whole strip here and get rid of that little extra at the end so that we have our strip here like this. And then I'm gonna take this and go ahead and stick it down on our piece of grid. Okay, it's kind of where I want it to be. And now, when I flip this over, I have this element here. I'm gonna add extra glue because it doesn't go through the whole quite as well, but I also don't have to work hard. Sorry, get it to focus. I also don't have to work hard. I could just pop glue across that whole element without like having to be detailed about it. And then add that to our focal point here. So you can see we've overlapped the edge of the white here. So we've kind of pulled your attention to both of these pieces of cardstock and have these here. Let's see. Oh, Kelly says inside. Kim says leave it off. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it off. So I have another version that I did use it. So I'll show you that one here at the end, but we'll hold off. I like the inside idea. Okay, so now we need an embellishment for the front of this. And I have our gold sequins. I'm going to go ahead and pop a couple of these on here. And again, I like things in groups of 3s, and I want to bring one up here towards our thanks message so that we're not totally disconnecting our focal point from our greeting. All right, so now we have all of those pieces kind of drawn together. And you can see this is a great sort of neutral, gender neutral color card. You could send this to anyone, and you could send it any time of the year. It doesn't have to be just for fall. So now let's look at the inside of our card and grab here a piece of basic white cardstock. So this is that 1/4 inch layer I was talking about. So it's 5 1/4 inches by 4 wide. And we want to add some extra decoration on here. So I'm gonna grab back my Petal Pink because this stamp is not only good for word backgrounds, it's actually really great for doing backgrounds of images also, to just give an image a little bit more weight and sort of anchor it. So I'm gonna go ahead and ink this up and stamp it down here. There we go. Let's see, there's like one, there we go, spot that was missing. So there is our image, and I feel like, that was a weird thing. Like I think I got, oh, you know what? I think I forgot to clean it. Oh well. Anyway, so we have our swoosh there, and then I'm gonna come back with our main color, which is our Evening Evergreen, since it matches our card. And I'm gonna bring the stamps that work with this. So I'm going to grab, there's 2-step stamp here. So it's the background color and the overlay. I'm gonna grab the background color and ink this up in Evening Evergreen. This is a very strong color. So I'm gonna use a piece of scrap paper and get this out of the way. I'm going to stamp off when I do this. Now, you see I moved this out of the way and you're like, wait, well, who cares if your paper's covering it? If I stamp off on this line right here, I'm gonna get a line on my stamp. So you wanna make sure that you don't have weird extra pieces underneath where you're stamping. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3 to get an idea. And I think that third is plenty, maybe the second one. Do your practice here. So 1, we'll use the second one. 2, all right. And then I'm gonna use my other image here, and I'm gonna use Evening Evergreen Full Strength. And same thing, I've got my hands braced on the table so that I can bring this really close, and I don't commit until the very last second on where I'm gonna stamp that. So I guess I could have done 2 stamped off to make it a little more difference between the two. But now we have this little stamp here, this little leaf that Kelly suggested we use inside. So I kind of like this. So, and everybody who said leave it off on the front, I think I agree with you. I agree with Kathy too. All right, so I think there's room for it here on this side. And now this time you want to be really careful with your glue. Unlike my first foray here, I'm just going to put these 2 little dots, squish those around, because you really, and that, if you can see it, it is enough. That is enough glue. I know, shocking. But you really don't want to glue your card shut by having a lot of extra glue smudge out the edges. So now you notice it jumped right away. You have to give it a second. It doesn't grab instantly. It just, it takes a second to grab, okay? So there we have the inside of our card. And I'm gonna go ahead and use my adhesive to add some adhesive to the back of our inner layer, and then add this here inside our card. All right, so I promised you another version of this card. Let's see, there we go. Always smush from the back side. There we go. I promised you another version of this card that is a sneak peek of the upcoming colors. So let me show you that one. So here's our finished card. And here is the one where I added the leaf on the front. And I kind of like it, but honestly, I kind of like it without better. So, you know, you get to choose. But let's take a look at the other version of this card. And the other version features new colors, well, new and returning colors. So here's the other version. So it's the same kind of thing, except I didn't use the leaves. I thought these were kind of a springy, summery, flowery color. So I used the flower dies, which are also from Season of Chic. There's the flowers, and then the extra shape dies here, like the shapes here and here for the flowers. And so let's talk about these colors. So we have the blue, the card base here is Blueberry Bushel, and this one might look familiar to you if you remember it as an in color. And then the next color here I have is Pretty Peacock, which is also a returning in color. And so that one is this one here. It's sort of a blue-green. It looks kind of blue when you're with greens, but when you put it with greens, it looks blue. So it wants to jump to the other camp, whichever one it is. And then we have Berry Burst, which is one of my most exciting returning colors. I'm really happy for that one. So Berry Burst. And that is, of course, this sort of crossover pink-purple color. So it's really nice and saturated. And then the last one is a new color entirely. It's actually one of the new in colors. It's called Pebbled Path. And it is this bottom neutral color here. So it is a really nice halfway between brown and gray kind of color. So it really matches as a neutral with lots of different things. So I'm pretty excited about that one. So here are those 4 colors here for this sort of in color sneak peek. This designer series paper here in the background is called Bright and Beautiful. It will be coming to you. And these little dots are fabulous. They are available in the new in colors too. So this is actually meant to match with Moody Mauve, which I think is the name of that color. Yep. But it works great with Berry Burst also. So if you're wondering about the designer series papers, yes, I'm going to have a designer series paper share, just like I've been doing for the last couple catalogs. They are super popular. They fill up very quickly. So when you see that announcement, make sure you sign up. Or if you're interested, you could, drop me a message and I can make sure that I get the information to you. It'll post next week, and it includes all of the designer series papers. You get a 6x6 piece plus a coordinating card base. So you guys know that it's so much easier to make a card when you have a card base ready to go. So you'll get 6 coordinating card bases to match the 6 pieces of designer series paper samples for each of the packages in the new catalog. So make sure you look for that. And then there's an option to add embellishments, of which these in color dots I think will definitely be one. So, all right, so back to our card for today. This is, again, one of the card projects for this month. The others, I don't know if I have them all here. Let's see. One of the featured was this notebook. So this is that fun and easy DIY notebook cover gift. And then the other ones I don't have handy. So one more I'll show on Tuesday, and then we'll go from there. So, all right. That covers us for this Thursday, so happy pre-Friday to everyone. If you have any questions, let me know. Links are in the video description, of course, for all of the supplies. Thank you for supporting the LovenStamps channel and making it possible for me to make videos like this for you guys. I really love sharing different stamping ideas, and I appreciate your support. The tutorial for today's project and those other 3 will actually also be available in my Etsy shop later today, shortly here this morning. Because if you aren't ordering from me for one reason or another, and you still want the tutorial, I want to make sure that you can get that. So the LovenStamps Card Mart is the shop on Etsy, and I think there might be a link in the video description here. If not, it'll be on the blog post. So thank you guys for watching, and yeah, have a happy weekend, everybody. I'm glad you like this card. It is really it's really an outstanding stamp and die set. It's just good for all year. And like this, if you don't love the cards the colors that I am using for this set of card, or you're not like the texture Chic Suite doesn't really jump out at you. Well, if it does, make sure you get your DSP because it's about to retire and go away. But you can do this same card in any color set. You could make a pastel version. You could make one if you had like theme colors for a wedding and you did thank you cards, you could do it for that. It's really good all year long. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful pre-Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And I will be back on Tuesday with another Maker Mornings with Meg. We're down to our last sort of week and a half here of this current catalog. So make sure you're looking through for things that you're going to, boo-hoo, the things you'll be sad are gone, and things from the last chance list that are just a really great opportunity to add things to your supplies at a discount. So happy stamping, everyone. I'll see you next week.